News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Chris Crock Show. And my gosh, I don't know about you, but I still have no power and no internet. Had to go to the house, checked on the cat and the gecko, watered, fed them, and checked the house, make sure nothing's going on. When you show up at night and your entire neighborhood is pitch black dark, and it's so dark that you can see everywhere. You know what I mean? Like with night vision, it's incredible. And it's also creepy and scary, right? It's like a little apocalyptic when the trees are still down everywhere. It really is. And we're going to get into that in 1 hour. The Trump trial's just a huge deal right now. And that's where we're going to stick on that the first issue, because the jury is deliberating. And as you know, they went home for the day, but they literally could come back with a verdict tomorrow morning. They could come back with a verdict in the middle of the day. A lot of people saying Friday. Nobody knows. Nobody knows nothing. And what transpired today is it's beyond the pale. I can't even describe how profane and disgusting what the Joe Biden administration has done. Judge Juan Merchan, there's more information I have about him tonight. Ready for this? The judge overseeing this? He's an acting judge. He's not even an official judge. He's an acting judge. And he got apparently a Steve Bannon trial, and he also got this one. The judge, what's her name? Judge Pirot, Judge Jeanine Pirot, who herself was a former judge there for years in the New York metropolitan area. She actually said that this was totally rigged in that jury pick. Hold on, listen, Merchan, got more bad stuff to hear. He donated to a Stop Trump fund. Judge Juan Merchan donated to a Stop Trump fund, and he's literally judging the guilt or innocence of Donald Trump. I can't say how I feel, because there's nothing that is not profane. I pray to God the people of this country literally say this is a joke. And I think we're going to get a guilty verdict. I really have to tell you, this is freaking pathetic. The exculpatory evidence about like Trump's accountants was not allowed. The Federal Elections Commissioner, the former head of the Federal Elections Commission, was willing to testify. Trump had him lined up. Judge Merchan refused to even allow him, because he was going to say there is no freaking crime here. There's nothing he did wrong. That's why the FEC looked at it and there's nothing. And he disallowed it. There on any chance of anything that would have shown, it would have been exculpatory evidence, meaning it would have gotten the president help contribute to him getting found not guilty, was totally reserved. The jury instructions read, according to Andy McCarthy, former U.S. federal attorney in that area, in that Southern District of New York, and Trey Gowdy, who is definitely not a Trump supporter, a very rhino type, but nonetheless, and he's a former federal prosecutor. They both marveled at how pathetic this is and how rigged it is. They both agree the jury instructions, literally, the jury instructions from Juan Merchan, literally the 55-page jury instructions, literally make it so that you cannot vote Trump innocent. I mean, this is... Kevin O'Leary from the Shark Tank, who's, as you know, very, very astute business. He was in London just the other day, and he said that the people there are literally asking him, what the hell's going on in the United States of America? What does a porn star and condom brands have to do with whether or not he violated election law? And what are you doing this? Why are you doing this to a federal, a U.S. president, former U.S. president? What's going on in the United States of America? He literally is going there to try to get them to pay, millions or billions of dollars to invest in a data center in America, and they're literally wondering why. He said people are questioning the total authenticity. This destroys our brand. He said it destroys the United States of America brand. They're destroying the United States of America brand. I couldn't agree more. I have several questions for you on this, because I now believe the jury's going to convict them. I think there's no chance they won't. I'm so vilely disgusted, especially since they can convict if these two people think that he did one little misdemeanor and those four people think he did another misdemeanor, not that one. All you need is a unanimous verdict that of four separate charges. So it can be these two say it's that charge, those four say it's that charge, and these five say it's this other charge, and that's a guilty verdict. And then it's like, oh well, he violated federal elections law because he tried to help embellish. They said any labeling of legal expenses should be considered like a income, and therefore should be criminal. there is no way they're not going to find guilty. The only prayer is there's somebody that has a freaking brain and is willing to actually say, because I'm going to tell you, these attorneys, they're freaking woke jokes. They're going to go back to they're both major law firms in New York, liberal. They have DEI garbage on their website. You think they're going to go back to their firm and be the guy that helped get Trump off? You think they're going to go back to that, to a woke law firm in New York City? You think so? What do you think? Their career's over. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. You know what else? Do you think it was more, I have like 4 questions. Do you think it was more profitable? Is it more profitable for a juror to convict or to not convict? One of my good friends, she was saying earlier today, I was talking to her, she thinks that it's more profitable to not convict. She says Trump's got all the connections, all the money. I totally disagree. I think it's more profitable to be one of the leftists of the adored crowd. You get the book deals from all the woke book publishers, which is almost all of them. You'll get deals for any movie or television special from all the liberal Hollywood. They'll fet you, and you'll be on all the shows that are liberal, nasty, ugly hens that will worship you and hump your leg. You'll be on MSNBC, CNN, everywhere, and you will make millions if you're the one who will speak out. I think it's more profitable to convict than it is to not convict. What do you think? That's my first question. Also, do you think the jury is going to be innocent or guilty? And what would you say if you were a jury? Which way would you go if you were a juror? Would you go guilty or innocent? And how do you think a guilty verdict affects Trump's polling numbers? What do you think a guilty verdict does to affect Trump's polling numbers? I think it's real easy for us to think it's going to help, but I hope so. I tend to think so, but you don't know anything. We don't know nothing. This is I can't begin to describe how scary and it's not scary, how angering, how viscerally, gutturally, profanely, this is disgusting to me. And how do you think Biden's going to spin this? You know, he's doing a press conference at the White House immediately after the verdict. Do you know this bleepity bleepity bleep literally is going to say he's a convicted felon? And if he's not a convicted felon, he'll still say democracy, democracy. He may be innocent, but democracy. But I'm going to tell you something. This is rigged. He's going to get a conviction, and they're going to just dance on his grave and say, convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. This is part of their whole plan. And then, so will it help or hurt Trump? I think it'll help him, but it also could hurt him. I don't know. Biden's going to spin this as he's a convicted felon. It's over. If Trump is convicted of a misdemeanor, do you know the word is misdemeanant? He's not a convicted felon. He'd be a convicted misdemeanant. That literally is the technical term. And last but not least, do you think a White House address to the nation after the verdict is appropriate? I don't. I think it's disgusting. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I want to hear from you right now. Chime in. Lines wide open for you. Do you think the jury will get convict or find innocent? And what would you say if you were a juror? What's more profitable for a juror, to convict or to not convict, in your opinion? I think it's more profitable to convict. What do you say? And then how will Biden spin this? As a loss or as a win, do you think? And what do you think a White House address to the nation after the verdict? Do you think it's appropriate? I think it's just as wholly inappropriate as to have a Biden press conference yesterday with a spokes idiot. You're going to hear from that spokes idiot on Mika Brzezinski, and she's literally like thinking this was bad. The media overall is not happy about how this is playing out. They think it's going to be bad. I pray to God they're right. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Do you think it'll be innocent or guilty? And what would you say as a juror? Which way is it profitable? More profitable for a juror to go convict or let off? And how will Biden spin this, as a loss or a win? And do you think a White House address to the nation after the verdict is appropriate? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Audio from the media actually saying this is probably not good, and from Mika Brzezinski saying, I think this is bad as well. All that next on the Chris Crock Show, 800-288-WBAP. Chime in right now. Lines wide open. News Star K20 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Well, let's play some, shall we?
These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job, and it's not for me, that I can tell you. The It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges. The people of this country see that this is a rigged deal. It's a weaponized deal for the Democrats to hit their political opponent. For Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of the United States.
And we have some other stuff to share with you. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Here's Mika and the Biden administration.
American citizens are not supposed to politicize a court proceeding. And I feel the same way about the campaign. Is there any concern about the campaign getting a little bit too close to these court proceedings, and could that backfire? Any concerns? Looking back, was it a good decision?
No, there's no concern. This campaign is not speaking about the substance of the trial in any way, shape, or form. What we are talking about, what we talked about yesterday, and what we'll continue to talk about is the unique threat that Donald Trump poses to our democracy.
Oh, democracy. That was the dork who refused to answer questions from people and at the press conference yesterday. Anyways, one line open, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. The questions are, do you think it's more lucrative for a juror to convict or to acquit? I think it's to convict. I think they'll make a ton on that. They won't face any headwinds from the liberal media, the liberal book publishers, everything, Hollywood. Number two, and their coworkers in New York City and their neighbors. Number two, nobody will get affected badly if they go back to their job and their neighborhoods and their families and convict Trump. I think in that area, I think it's a wash. I'm disgusted. Number two, how do you think the jury will rule, guilty or innocent? I truly think they're going to do guilty. I'm sorry to say that. And what would you say if you were a juror? Would you say guilty or innocent? And what do you think? How do you think a guilty verdict affects Trump? The polling numbers, are they getting better? They're going to get better or worse? And if he's innocent, what do you think? And how is Joe Biden going to spin this as a Trump conviction or not? And do you think the White House address to the nation after the verdict is appropriate? I think it's beyond the pale, and I'm revolted by it. I'm repulsed. I'm angry overall. Let's go to Mark in Rockwall. Mark, you're on News Talk. I should say you're on 8. Let's see here. You're on 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Sorry, brain fart. Hey, Mark.
Well, Chris, I think they're going to convict him, and we've just about achieved terminal velocity off the cliff.
Yes.
And that'll be the end of us.
Well, I mean, you're literally destroying a brand of 200 years, according to Kevin O'Leary, because that's all they're asking when he goes to Europe to do business this past week. So, yes, he's destroying the brand.
Yeah,
Joe Biden is destroying our country.
It's been exponentially getting worse and worse. It started back with Slick Willie and the spooge on Monica's dress, and then it's just gotten worse. You never thought that they'd ever put national health care, 2,700 pages, and that. You know what?
That is nothing compared to what we're seeing here. This is turning us into Venezuela.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's ludicrous.
Do you agree with me? It's more profitable to convict than it is to do innocent. And what do you think about Joe Biden in his post-Trump trial conviction?
There's no money in nobility. I mean,
right.
Doing the right thing is not always
right. I got to roll. You're breaking up, but thank you for your call. Steve, by the way, Biden, I'll throw another one in there. One of my fellow colleagues elsewhere in the state of Texas says that he believes Biden's going to pardon him and should, because it'll make him look better. He won't pardon nothing. He needs this conviction. Steve in Alvarado, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Steve.
Okay, man. I think he's probably going to get convicted 60-40, but I don't think it's going to matter at all, because I think the people who are going to decide the election are the non-voters. I think we're all going to vote for our Republicans and our Democrats, but I think a lot of people are just not going to push that hole or punch that button for any president. And so I think the non-voters are going to settle the election. And I think Trump people are much more stuck to him than Biden's people are stuck to him. So I just think it doesn't matter. He gets to appeal it. Who cares? But I really do. I'm concerned that the non-voters are going to be the ones who decide this election.
Yeah, and you think the non-voters are going to go, you said, more towards Trump?
Yeah, I think the non-voters on Trump. I mean, I think the people that would be considered a non-voter, there's fewer of those people that will turn their back on Trump with his history and his track record. But I think people are running from Biden like ants from ant killer.
Do you? I'm gonna buttress that because this is stunning. North Carolina was moved officially from Biden to toss up, but here's more. This is incredible. Virginia, which was always been thought as impossible, now for a Republican president, especially Trump, a UVA poll just came in that they went from they're tied now between Trump and Biden in the state of Virginia, which is unthinkable. Glenn Youngkin's one thing because he's moderate, but and he didn't go Trump in any way for the most part. He did endorse Trump this time, but anyways, I think it's I think they're panicked. As we're going to get to that next, the Politico is saying they're all panicking the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and all these polls we keep hearing about, all the pollsters, or almost all of them, are always going to move things or lean things to Joe Biden. So when they say it's a close race, it's really a Trump ahead.
Well, now, what do you think? Do you think Joe Biden will pardon Trump? Because I think that's a joke. I think his strategy is this is his strategy: get him convicted and say he's a felon, and then that's how somehow you're going to win. I
don't even think. I hate to say this. I don't think Joe Biden will be alive at the election.
Nah, I think he's going to be alive.
I really don't. I think he's going to pass away.
I doubt it, but let me... the way you said it, pass away. The way you just came across. Now...
Well, that's the easiest way I can say it.
Hold on. You're making me laugh. Silly. Do you actually think... the jury... You think they're going to convict as I do, but do you think...
Joe's not good. Joe won't pardon him.
Okay.
No, Joe...
Is it more lucrative to be a juror that convicts?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think a juror that does not convict is going to change people's minds so much, because later on we're going to find out.
No, lucrative. What's
happened.
more money and fame? Which one? Convict or refuse to convict?
No, I don't think it'll matter. I really don't. I don't think anybody's making any money off this if you're a juror, unless you write a book. And so I don't think that's going to matter.
Will.
But I think
if you're the one person that comes out, they will hump your leg and fet you and make you wealthier because you come out and you can say I convicted him. It was obvious. All right, I got to roll, but thanks for your call. All right, 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. Do you think they're going to convict or find Trump innocent? I think they're going to convict. And do you think Biden will pardon? I think that's obscenely obscene. I think it's ridiculous to entertain that. And how will Biden spin a loss or a win? I think if it's a win, he's going to say doesn't matter about the trial. They have the speeches ready to go, and he's going to say it doesn't matter if he wasn't found guilty. He is he's taking our country away from democracy. He's destroying it. You must vote to stop him, which I think will fail spectacularly. But if he's convicted, it's all going to be convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. And the media is going to say convicted felon, convicted felon. They're going to say, before they say his name for the rest of the campaign, convicted felon, former President Donald J. Trump, disgraced former President Donald J. Trump, who's now a convicted felon, ... That's all this is. It's a branding thing. All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, that's where we're going to get to a stunning Politico article that came out that said they're in freak-out mode. The Democrats are in freak-out mode. There's a pervasive sense of fear at the highest levels of the Democrat Party. All that, I'll still take your jury calls and the Trump calls. But the other thing is, as far as these freak out and they're thinking it's going to be a disaster at the polls, the Democrats, according to the Politico, if you're Team Biden, would you be panicking right now? And do you think they're this panicked, as the Politico says? All that coming up next. And will they replace Biden? All that coming up next, plus your jury calls, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227.
This was a bad idea. This entire thing was not a great idea.
Step away from celebrities. I don't think it helps. I think it kind of almost, in a weird way, sometimes backfires. Oh, those liberal Hollywood elites, and they're well-intentioned, and Robert De Niro is well-intentioned, but I think staying away from the courthouse would have been the best thing.
Oops. That's a little liberal media montage, and that's not good. All right, we're going to open this up a little bit more too here, just to add another fold. But the first thing is the jury. How do you think they're going to rule, guilty or innocent? How would you rule? I think they're going to convict. I'm sickening to tell you, but I really think that's what they're going to do. The jury instructions basically tell you have to convict. And then how do you think the guilty verdict affects Trump's polling numbers, up or down? if he is guilty. I think it's going to help him, but I don't know. And anybody who says they do doesn't really know. I think it will help. I think everybody sees it as a naked power grab. And the ones who hate Trump will already vote that they think it's great. They're going to just shout it and yell, but no minds will be changed. I truly do think. How will Biden spin this loss or win? And I think either way, it's convicted felon. That's all they'll say. The media will say that, just that the first before they mention his name. If he is not convicted, it's democracy, democracy, democracy. He's going to destroy this country, which is a load of bull. And then do you think the White House address the nation after the verdict was appropriate? I think it's stunning. Stunningly inappropriate. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. 3 lines open at 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset. 800-288-9227 is our number. The political reporting that they're in Dems are in freak-out mode. Pervasive sense of fear has settled in at the highest levels of the Democrat Party over the growing realization that Biden is significantly behind Trump in the polls. Second of all, today, brand new North Carolina move from Biden's going to win to now a toss-up. UVA poll says that Virginia is now tied between Trump and Biden. Wow. They see a tired old man who's in over his head, who's destroying things, inflation, the country, the world. But then they also see a tired old man who's rigging the system and making this fake thing up, and they know it. And they remember Trump with his issues, but they remember also that their wallets and pocketbook and wartime was there was nothing going on. It was perfect. Last but not least, if you were Team Biden, would you be panicked right now? As they say, the political says the Democrats are at the highest levels. And do you think they're this panicked, or do you think they'll replace Biden? And do you think they'll replace Biden by the summer if there's no improvements? I don't think they're going to replace him. I think they're just doing everything they can to help him. And they're, thank God for this trial. It's rigged. They know it, and they're going to use it. Steve in Fort Worth, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hello, Steve.
Hello, and thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Wish I could talk as fast as you.
It's funny. And I don't want to talk this fast, honestly, except I have to so I can get everything out and get you on.
I think they need a hung jury. And the reason why, if they have a hung jury, then the ball is still in play, and they can choose when they want to retry him. If they get an acquittal, it's an acquittal. It's a walk away. If he's convicted, then he can immediately appeal that.
No, but the appeal will not play out until after the election.
I don't know.
No. This is not even a guess. Everybody in every form from every network and all says the same thing. All the liberal ones that hate Trump, the Republican ones that love Trump, and they all say there's no possible way. And they work in and practice in New York and are experts in it. And there's no way the appeals process, you will not even get sentencing for a couple months. Sentencing on this case.
Right. No, I mean, I understand that.
And appeals can't start until after sentencing.
Well, I think their best bet, there's an attorney on the jury. Is that correct?
There's two, and I think they're going to use this to use their position at their woke law firms. Both have woke stuff on their law firms. You think they're going to go back to that woke law firm and tell them they were the guy that voted, coached everybody to not convict? Are you kidding me? Go ahead.
Well, I think they probably would, because this is an absolute travesty. There's nothing that makes sense on it, and you can't knit together a case like they did and it not be, even CNN, they have hints that they're like, this is crazy, and
they have had some direct sayings from the top people. That top one. Ellie or Eli or something or other. Anyway,
whatever.
Here's the problem. The jury instructions, the charge from the judge, literally makes it impossible to not convict, is everything I've heard. And number two, as you know, they're 95% Democrat there. And number three, the judge, as you know, is some more information. He literally voted to a Stop Trump group. I mean, he voted to stop Trump, and he donated to them, and he's the judge in charge of Trump's fate. But I don't think you're going to find people who want to have their lives ruined, their neighborhood destroyed by getting themselves and their neighborhood known who they are. And I think everybody that works with them knows who they are because of the 6-week absence. And I think their bosses are going to put pressure on them and say, hey, you're going to nail him. You got him. Oh, do you even think any boss in New York City wouldn't say, hey, man, I hope you get him. Get that bleep. You know it.
They probably want to move to Fort Worth. And that's where all the Yankees are moving to.
But that ain't going to do nothing. I think you're going to get a guilty verdict. But, I mean, I don't want to I can't change your mind.
Honestly, if they get that, that's great. But I'm sure there's going to be one holdout one way or another. And
I think you haven't taken your bias goggles off, my friend. I say it respectfully.
Well, I am a Trump fan. I have been for, ever. Anyway.
You reminded me of my friend, we're talking when Obama was running for a second term. We were at a men's retreat, and he became angered with me. I know you're not being that way, but I'm just saying he was angered with me because he did not understand that there was no way Obama was going to lose. It was like, a month or 2 or 3 or 4 trials. Like, no way, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm like, dude, stop. First of all, I'm not here to talk this crap. I'm in a men's retreat. I try to say it nicely. But number 2, he couldn't get it off his mind. He had a disease. Hold on a second. He had that disease where it's all he does. Number 2, he could not fathom the truth. And boy, did he get his butt handed to him. And so I'm not saying you're like him. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of... You're applying common sense and reason, and you're not going to get that there.
Well, I can pray.
You can, and not only that, that's the best thing you. But not only that, but you might be right. You might get one of us on there, but I doubt it. But I hope you're right. I'm so. Anyways, last question: do you actually believe they're in full panic mode as the freak out mode, and there's a pervasive settle of fear that is settling at the highest levels? Do you agree with that political report?
Yes,
if you had to guess,
yes, I do. I do, and exactly why? Because Biden's going to have to stand up during the debate, and there's no way he can stand at the same.
Well, the first one is going to be sat down for like 90 minutes. I think Trump's trying to fight that, but I don't know. But number 2 is do you think they're this panic, but do you think they're going to replace him by this summer if there's no improvements?
Part of me says yes, and the reason why is because they replace him with someone who'd be the next president.
They can't do it to Kamala. Sorry, they can't do it to Kamala. They can't. It'll destroy the party. It'll call racist.
Would vote Republican then.
Yeah. So they're not going to have her, and I think he will never, ever leave that seat. He loves it too much. His not a Dr. Jill wife loves it. She's the first lady. She's the real president. I appreciate your call, Michael in Fort Worth. You're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, man, listen to your show all the time, and don't always agree with you, but
me too.
I love the way you put your show on, man.
Thank you. That means, you know what? Let me pause for a second. That means everything. I was trying to be funny by saying me too and me too, but since I'm the one hosting. But I mean, listen, that means everything to me, especially when someone doesn't agree with you mostly or half time. It means everything to me because if you find the show worthy of listening to it, the most important thing is that you like the way I do it, and which means you seem to like me even if I'm wrong half the time in your opinion, and that's like what my job is to do, is to seek to gain as many
sharp people. And you entertain well.
Thank you. You got to tell my wife that because her eyes would roll right now.
Hey, but the lucrative question.
Yes,
I can't get into some of the other questions because of what I do for a living.
That's fine.
But
you should with anonymity. You should, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've been in this business long enough to know.
I will call you Eduardo Enego Montoya. Prepare to die. Go ahead, sir.
So check this one out. I think you're onto something. It's kind of brilliant. If I'm on the jury and I'm looking at a way to market my decision, I probably want to be the lower supply end of that economic chain.
Okay.
So if I hold out long enough, and I'm the guy that causes the hung jury, I might be able to market my statement at a higher rate than the other 11 people.
Do you think I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying.
I'm getting at? Like,
you're clearly
human nature in
extremely bright, and you work in the field, which tells me some kind of a legal position. I'll leave it at that.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I promise.
Okay. You're a doctor.
Nope.
You're a pilot.
Yep.
Shut up!
Yep.
Hold on. Shh. Hold on. This is your captain speaking. Chris Crock's going to take the wheel for a few hours. I'm going to take a nap. All right. If you need anything, ask him. No. Okay. So marketing skills. I'm sorry. And so one person's going to say, I will be worth so much if I'm the one person that says innocent and fights. Yeah. Now, last question on that. Do you think, I'm being serious, do you think the average person in that jury is smart enough to think of something like that? As smart as you are. I'm being serious.
I got to tell you, out of 12 people in New York City where a lot of people are chasing $1 and it's super expensive to live, I think somebody's thinking that.
Game changer, life changer. I can sell the house. I can move. I can make $1 million at a new house and have it paid off.
I can get the hell out of New York City.
Right on. Okay. There you go. Now, don't assume like you're not. The last gentleman was assuming they're going to want to come to Fort Worth. Nobody wants to move anywhere if they can afford. They can help it if they're from there.
That's right.
All right, brother. Great call. You got to keep calling because you are an awesome caller.
All right, Chris. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thank you. It means a lot to me. Thanks, bro. And I hope one day you are my pilot. I'm going to tell you something. There's certain people that make me feel really good when they call in. Pilots, for some weird reason. Doctors and lawyers. There's others I would come up with, but it just tells me like, oh, this guy's smart. Actually, some people will tell you, some lawyers say, that means nothing. There's a lot of dumb lawyers, Chris. I work with them every day. So you're right. You're right. There's many people on the list, by the way, that I appreciate and love, and you know that. So, all right, coming up next, we're going to talk more about this. I want to hear from you. We finally have some lines wide open for you. I want to talk twofold. How do you think the jury's going to rule? What's more lucrative for a juror to convict or to find innocent? And then do you think Biden's in freakout mode? Do you think they're going to ditch him, etc.? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. More audio from the trial today and more stats coming out this afternoon on why Biden really might lose. 800-288-WBAP, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset.
And then they have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. He got maggot. He got maggot yesterday. He got a big dose of it.
All right, there is Trump. There is Trump. And did you catch that? He got maggot. Isn't that the best? De Niro got maggot. MAGA''D, right? You got maggot. All right, I want to hear from you at 800-288-WBIP is our number, 800-288-9227. Our number is, as I said, 800-288-WBAP. What I want to talk about, and by the way, I want to tell you something else. We're going to be talking about the storm stuff. I have so much to talk about with you, and we on a personal level with you and me, because you are probably dealing with one or some of the things I'm dealing with. No power, no internet, living in a hotel. I cannot tell you how many people at the hotel are staying there with no power still. Number two, though, is dealing with a roofer, dealing with contractors, dealing with getting rid of the debris, dealing with trying to get a tree person to show up at your house, how hard it is right now. So much to talk about on that. Groceries. Losing your food because it's spoiling. Oh, it's a million things I'm going through that you probably are too, or at some point you have. That plus all the latest coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. But the big thing is, do you think it's more lucrative for a juror to convict or to acquit? And what would you do if you're a juror? I think it's more lucrative to convict. I really do. But, our last caller was getting pretty convincing on me that if you're the one lone juror that bucks it all, if you get one person but there's so many, there's a plethora, a veritable well, a cornucopia for you to choose from to convict. It's almost like and the jury charging instructions read like you have to. This is beyond the pale, and I think that Nicole Malitaka's complaint saying that she thinks it was that Judge Juan Merchan was not randomly picked, and she wants the New York overseers of the jury system, the court system, to check it out. I think they should, they will. I think they're going to find it was rigged.